This deal with Palantir stinks. It stank before Peter Mandelson was involved. It stank when the ventures opposite initiated it into our NHS and defence contracts. Peter Thiel is an oligarch who despises democracy. The company has widespread allegations of human rights abuses. Even the Swiss Army has rejected Palantir as a platform on national security grounds. Surely after Greenland, now is an opportunity for our country, this government, to begin to distance itself and pivot away from companies like Palantir, who are so closely connected to Donald Trump. Time to move away.
Guys, there is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one who has the claim my time.
Your answer. You said there's no evidence. I'd like to stop the clock.
Legislation.
Time. I'd like to
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and the officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide.
Some people think they jive me, but I know they must be crazy. Don't see their misfortune, else they just too lazy. Je suis le grand zombie, my yellow belt of choice on. Ain't afraid of no tomcat, fill my brains with poison. Walk through the fire, fly through the smoke. See my enemy at the end of their rope. Walk on pins and needles, see what they can do. Walk on gilded splinters with the king of the Zulu. Dang, I'm in a call, they kill it, come. Walk on gilded splinters. Did I roll out my coffin, drink poison in my chalice. Pride begins to fade, and y'all feel my malice. Put Gregory on your doorstep, soon you'll be in the gutter. Melt your heart like butter, and I can make it stutter. Everybody call, they kill it, come. Walk on, kill the splinter. Come, they kill it, come. Walk on, kill the splinter. Come, they kill it, come.
Coco Robish Show. That's right.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to Rad Pod Not So Chill. I'm Heidi Cood. I'm with Jim Stewartson, High Fidelity. High Fidelity, thank you as always for those intros. We never see them before you guys do. Hi-Fi always surprises us, and some really dark stuff in there, some really, really important stuff in there. And in advance, I just want to apologize to any and all victims of human trafficking, because it must be incredibly horrible and retriggering to have to see these evil people's faces everywhere in the news, etc. And we will do the best job we can at trying to unpack some of this stuff while still, remaining dignified in our approach. And with that, I will say that our guest for our new episode of RadPod, Zarina Zabriskie, who most of you know is a war correspondent in Ukraine and a filmmaker. She tells a story in our new episode, which we will lead off with when we start showing highlights, about being 16 and trying to and being recruited by a KGB colonel to be a hot currency prostitute and spy. This is a world she knows very well. This is something she wrote about. She was a teenager when they tried to recruit her. She managed to escape, and that said, she's very sensitive about the women who are not able to have that kind of, good fortune of never having, been recruited. So in any case, that's what's on my mind and where I want to start. And I just wanted to get that out of my system. Jim, Hi-Fi, where do you guys want to start?
I want to start with the fact that that was Dr. John's walk on gilded splinters. And the reason I chose that is because it's going to be Mardi Gras next Tuesday. And that's a good song for kind of how I feel about the bad people who are getting away with a lot of crap. I've seen a lot of resignations. Lately. I've only seen one arrest. I haven't seen any trials, and I certainly haven't seen any jailings or imprisonment. So that's my little gree on your doorstep for the transnational organized crime ring behind all
Thank
this.
you for that. Thank you for that. Jim?
I don't know. Where do you want to start? I mean, right now, I have this image that I can't, escape, which is Schrodinger's fist. So you know how you have a cat who both is dead and alive at the same time. Schrodinger actually thought that was a ridiculous experiment, by the way, which is why he said it. But nevertheless, it is a fundamental property of quantum mechanics, and I feel like we are in a similar situation with this government, right? It is both taking over all our, and you guys, did it's taking our
Oh man,
well,
Hi-Fi.
now he's just out all directly.
Oh man, he'll be right back. While we wait for Jim to come back and finish that line of thought. Here we go. Jim, go ahead and finish that line of thought.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my internet.
Oh, it's just the
It's
usual.
the internet. It's held together with spit and duct tape.
Back to Schrodinger. Go ahead and finish
Yeah,
that thought.
it basically they're closing their fists on us all at the same time, but also it's kind of dissipating, right? Shit.
Their network is being exposed for what it is, an actual network of fascism.
I'm gonna dump out and come back. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Well,
I mean, just
Jim,
to continue that thought, they're
Yeah.
tightening their grip, right? I mean, the technology is becoming more invasive. Palantir is getting more and more contracts, both in the UK government and the United States government. But at the same time, their grip is dissipating because more and more people are starting to understand what Peter Thiel is, how he ties to Jeffrey Epstein, why Palantir is a bad thing, what is actually going on in our society today.
Yeah, there
This
was
is a
no
dangerous time.
other than our colleagues, the people we work with in this space, and the investigative journalists who have been doing this work for many years. Nobody even knew who these guys were. So on the one hand, we see just how invasive it is. On the other hand, people are finally learning who Peter Thiel is, who Palantir, what Palantir is. And I'm really glad you opened with that clip. But go ahead, Jim, while we have you.
I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple idea. They're trying to both close the fist on us at the same time, but it's also dissipating in very obvious ways. One thing that happened in Congress is they renamed the press gallery for Frederick Douglass. That would not have happened a couple of months ago. That would absolutely not have happened a couple of months ago. It was bipartisan. It had to be. And that went through. And I think you're seeing tiny little bits of resistance is not the right word, but Trump's sort of unitarian power dynamic, it genuinely seems to be dissipating as they simultaneously do all this crazy shit to make us feel like this is inevitable, and it's not. The biggest danger right now is their interference in the midterms. And when you have Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, think about this. Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel at Fulton County taking the ballots out. The county where he said I need 11,000 votes. The bonkerness of this shit is just right. So if they're willing to do that, right? If they're willing to make that kind of bonkers shit happen, what will they be willing to do? If they are willing to try to indict 6 ham sandwiches in the form of Democratic lawmakers, right? They tried to indict the seditious six on seditious conspiracy charges, the same charges as Tario and Stuart Rhodes, right? This is not a fucking coincidence. They're trying to erase all of our actual history, with their bullshit. Anyway.
Yeah, that upside down that we always talk about. So I have a question for you. I spent some time last week looking at all the kind of top executives who were in the middle of the 2008 financial crises because I wanted to know what happened to them. Nothing happened to them. They're all billionaires and worth hundreds of millions of dollars. They're doing just fine. Only one person went to prison for it. And meanwhile, millions and millions of families were, profoundly impacted by it. I have a lot of sympathy for the borrowers because, there was a lot of, there were a lot of predatory loans going on. People were very trusting. Anyway, I bring that up because I think that when major scandals occur, there might be a part of the population that just thinks, oh, well, now that the scandal is out there, it'll take care of itself. And that is not what happens. It doesn't happen like that. Now, interestingly, as Hi-Fi pointed out in our opener, there are people in other countries going down over, the Epstein scandal parade, but not so much in America. What do you make of that so far, Jim? Because I always thought this could be Achilles heel, but not necessarily.
I mean, the difference is there's pedophiles, the president over here. It's not complicated, right? Like, first of all, I had to say this out loud and looking at my friend Jen and in the comments. You look at this shit and you can't only look at Trump. I'm sorry, but this shit, all of this shit was there for Obama's DOJ and Biden's DOJ. This shit existed. Where the fuck are our intelligence agencies when the most infamous pedophile on planet Earth is literally just fucking having meetings with every Russian spy on planet Earth and connecting them with American billionaires like Peter fucking Thiel in 2015. In 2015.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Solid shit. In 2015, all of these bastards are getting together. Zuck and Thiel and Ghislaine and fucking Jeffrey and Elon Musk. Right as they're meeting with all these fucking Russians. Right as they're all trying to get to the island. And we didn't hear about any of this shit. What the fucking fuck? Why didn't Obama do anything while it was going on? How could our intelligence agencies not see these meetings? See, if you're not monitoring Jeffrey Epstein, why aren't you monitoring Vitaly Churkin, the Russian ambassador to the UN, who's walking in and out of meetings with Peter fucking Thiel? And we've never heard this. I mean, Peter Thiel and Jeffrey Epstein. Let's be clear, right? The most infamous pedophile in the world, who's got connections with the Republican candidate for president. And none of us ever heard about this shit. We had to find out because Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna and whatever decided to use it. And I'm glad they did. But what the last 10 years, and I'm sorry to rant, but the last 10 fucking years are fake. It came from bullshit generated by Jeffrey Epstein and his network in order to cover up for his own pedophilia and crimes and Donald Trump's. That's literally what happened. Look at the files, these meetings. One, boom, boom, boom. Russians, Jeffrey Epstein, Peter Thiel, fucking all one after the other. There is no fucking question about one more. I'm almost on my rant. There's no fucking question about what happened here. And I wanted the last 10 years back.
Yeah.
I what's important to me at this point is that we fucking look at what's happened, not just from a part. There's no more politics. There's no more partisanship, right? There's people who don't like these fucking pedophiles and billionaires and psychopaths, and then there's the people who are the pedophile, billionaires, and psychopaths, and the people who, for some fucking reason, love them. But that's a small minority, and I'm sick of us not recognizing what's happened here. We've let this small minority of deviants take over and control us, and it's time to just stop. At some point, you have to look at a government that is not following any laws, that is deliberately going out of its way to break all the laws that it possibly can in order to cover up for its own people breaking the law. Why the fuck are we supposed to follow it? I'm not saying we should go murder people. It's not the purge or some shit. But why should we pay taxes or do anything this government wants when they're behaving in this way? When Pam Bondi gets up there and just has a absolute fucking 2-hour tantrum because it's the only way. And that wasn't a mistake. It wasn't her being emotional. It wasn't any of that. It was scripted to the word. And it was all because they wanted the attention on her for 5 minutes or 2 hours instead of the pedophile in the White House. Now I am done. I'm sorry for ranting so hard.
No. That's all really important stuff. And of course, Pam Bondi has to double down because she let Jeffrey Epstein off light. She covered for him the first time. So she's all in. She is all in. And as you wrote in your Substack yesterday, she's somebody who learned that being amoral was lucrative. And so it doesn't seem to be a problem. It seems to be a common denominator in this administration. One thing I do want to say, to be fair, is there were a number of reporters who have been reporting Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Russia, myself included, Craig Unger, Zarina Zabriskie. I reported on the Red Sparrows in his orbit who were directly tied to Russian intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's, groundbreaking on a global scale now. There were people who had been sounding this alarm, people reporting, as I did, about Deutsche Bank's involvement and all of the facilitation of human trafficking. It proved to be quite lucrative for banks and amoral people. So I just, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And also, Zarina Zabriskie, somebody like Jeffrey Epstein, she called him straight up a KGB colonel. And I think we should listen to her first clip from our most recent interview so she can explain how she sees it and what her background offers in her interpretation of this.
When I was 16, when I was a teenager, and I studied in university at the philological department, studying languages and literature back in Leningrad, USSR. KGB colonel picked me up in a gypsy cab and in a manner that they used for such operations, tried to hire me as a hard currency prostitute and spy. It was very clear. There were no mistakes. I was offered an immense amount of money at this point in the Soviet Union when the average salary was about, in dollars, I wouldn't know, but probably $20-30. I was offered $3,000 a month, an apartment, a rich lover on top of all the important clients whom I was supposed to lightly interview during entertainment. And then I was promised in a few years to be shipped off, married off to a Swede or a Finn. For some reason, Scandinavians were on the menu. So obviously it did not, or maybe not so obviously, but it did not happen. I later wrote a novel based on the scenario, what if it did happen? That's fiction. Later I proceeded to work at Grand Hotel Europe. I was an assistant general manager, and we had these unfortunate young women who actually went for this deal, and I never judged anyone because life was extremely harsh. And that was one way to feed your family. I had to feed my family, but I was lucky enough to get other type of jobs. So I just want to make sure that nobody thinks that I'm judging anyone. I never do. But I actually do judge the KGB colonels, Epstein, and all the pedophiles, but not the young women who were unfortunate enough to fall for it.
Really, really
Yeah,
quick.
I mean, it sounds a lot like Epstein's operation.
Yeah, we knew that he was paying tons of women from Eastern Europe because that was what Deutsche Bank had to pay a large multi-million, tens of millions dollar fine for. I think it was 75 to 150 million dollars. They had been warned many, many times internally, externally, and they just never did anything about it. And that is the problem. Deutsche Bank just got raided about 10 days ago, and this is not the first time that their offices have been raided, so I'm not holding out much hope. But generally what happens is they end up writing what hi-fi, they end up writing big checks, just like Rupert Murdoch did. They end up writing, I think they laundered $10 billion of Russian oligarch money, and they ended up writing a $600 million check to yes, High Fidelity, I see the fingers up.
2 fingers now.
Yeah, because there's 2 people associated with Deutsche Bank. There's a couple other dead bodies associated with Deutsche Bank, but there's two dead people associated with Deutsche Bank that I think our audience really needs to be familiar with. And the last name is Broeksmit, Broeksmit. And there's
Wow.
and his father. His father worked directly for Deutsche Bank and committed suicide, right? And was apparently involved in some shady things because Val took a trove of documents to the FBI and said, look, Deutsche Bank is into some very shady shit. And we never really got clarified what was in those documents. And then Val Broeksmit turned up dead from an overdose, or a heart attack or something. But anyway, when you talk about Deutsche Bank, there's a pile of bodies around them. So always remember that. That's all.
I mean, speaking of pile of bodies, like, did we talk about Vitaly Churkin last week? Suddenly expiring a month after the inauguration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. By the way, I want to there's a couple things of I want to say about Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Steve Bannon, all over that shit,
All up in this shit.
and making pedophile jokes, with the guy and stuff, like just amoral as fuck. And he's getting, by part of, including Flynn to some extent, is hinting at it. They're trying to throw Bannon in the wood chipper. The problem they have is they're also starting to realize Bannon's superpower. Why has Donald Trump not gone after Steve Bannon? Why has Donald Trump never fucking had a damn word to say about Steve Bannon? Because Bannon knows fucking everything. Every single thing about Donald Trump. And and if you're ever wondering why three-shirted fascist fuck is given a pass by everybody, why Trump never, even when Bannon's up there just raking him, which happens from time to time, Trump never goes after him because Bannon will, one, deify him because it benefits him and because he needs Trump to protect him, right? But also it's a mutual destruction pact. And you gotta, and I hate saying this, but you gotta hand it to Steve Bannon. It's a fucking, it's a really good, like, he got fired. Remember, he got fired from Trump.
Sloppy Steve for talking to
And
Michael.
and then what'd he do? Trump went after him hard. And what'd he do? Befriended Jeffrey fucking Epstein. Hard. Like, went and met with him. Oh, I'm going to be your documentary, all this shit. And then all he was doing is get every last fucking secret about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump can never touch him. And so it gave me a whole new view on this dynamic. Like, why? But Steve Bannon, this crusty, ugly, slimy fucker, why does he get all this juice? Now we know why he gets all this juice. Because dude has all the goods on the president.
Hey, well, that's kind of how it's all work.
If you just look at the world, who has the dirt on fucking Donald Trump? Putin. We fucking know it. Also, by the way, we know Al-Thani, Qatar, has everything. Because Al-Thani's people were pinging Jeffrey Epstein to find out, get this, if Bitcoin could be Sharia law compliant.
Yeah.
Literally, fucking Al-Thani, the Emir of Qatar, sent his banker to Jeffrey Epstein to find out if crypto could be Sharia compliant. And that guy is the guy that was paying Pam Bondi $115,000 a month.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
We're just seeing, right? Epstein, fucking Qatar, Putin. I wrote a whole last article called The Shadow Trilateral about Qatar, Russia, and the Trump Broligarch syndicate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, effectively running geopolitics. And look, Lord of Peace and Gaza and all this stuff. Look at that trilateral, and you will see a great deal of the bullshit that's going on being paid for, being you can see the pressure dynamics. It all starts to make sense. And honestly, we just have to go kill these people. I don't mean, you know, I'm not saying go murder people.
I think what he meant to say was
but this, I don't mean physically.
Destroy their lives. They must no longer live in polite
Destroy
society.
the entity. I mean, the entity that they've created needs
okay,
to.
I'm going to save you right now, Jim. I'm going to save you right now.
Thank you.
Can could cut it in post. You meant metaphorically.
I meant metaphorically. Don't kill me, you two.
Cage, put them in a cage. So that's what Hi-Fi's always wanted to do, cage some billionaires. We launched this show 4 years ago. That was the goal. So anyway, I decided what I want to focus on so much is how do we make sure that we get Putin and Trump out of power. So for the next few weeks, my Substack, Betty Dangerous, is interviewing women who were at the trials for the former Yugoslavia's war criminals, for their leader, Milosevic, I can't say it, Milosevic, I think that was close, and the other people that were close to him. He was in prison for facilitating genocide. He was in prison for war crimes and crimes against humanity. He ended up dying in prison, but they're going to tell us, they're going to tell my community, and I'll write print reports on them. These are Croatian women. One's a sociologist and a politician, a former foreign minister for Croatia, and another is a journalist. And they're going to tell us about what it was like being at those tribunals. So firsthand accounts, how the prosecution worked. And it was the first time that a sitting leader was charged with war crimes. So it was a really big deal. Like, how did it happen? How did they get there? Originally, he was arrested. The former Yugoslavian leader was arrested by their own security services, and then he was handed off to this international tribunal, the International Criminal Courts. It was facilitated by the UN at that time. I think that we have to think in terms of accountability. We have to believe that there will be accountability, that this is not how the world ends, with a gang of human traffickers all covering for each other, all facilitating each other. A decade ago, I looked at what was going on. I wrote about it in November of 2016. I tweeted about it. I said, this is all cover for a mass human trafficking ring. Like, that is something that I just knew, because when Zarina talks about her stories, I, as an investigative journalist in broadcast news, did a ton of reporting on human trafficking and how it worked, and who was behind it. And my best friend in the 90s was somebody who had been trafficked from Kyiv, a very beautiful woman who was told she was going to come to America to sell perfume. That's not what happened. She came to America. She was in a room with 30 other women, and she was, as Zarina explained, she was trafficked, and it was something that, you don't escape from emotionally, physically. It was really, really horrible. So I'm just saying, like, we know what's going on. We can't just be like, oh, so now that the scandal's breaking, it's going to be like, oh, it'll take care of itself. No, it's going to require, as Jim said last week, more than likely some form of revolution to get these people out of power. But I will be bringing more information on how they were able to do that in the former Yugoslavia, because they did it. These people died in prison, and that's how their story ended.
Finger.
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna go now. Fingers here.
your fingers right there, bro. You know.
I'm high. Leave me alone. Anyway,
that's the one thing. That's the one signal that we got. So you got to be ready.
All right, good. At least we've, yeah. Anyway,
4 years
what Heidi
in,
has to say.
We got that one figured out. Sorry.
What Heidi has to say on this subject is very, very dark, and it's very painful for her, and she doesn't go into detail on it, and that's understandable. The world is a very dark place, and if we allow these people who have consistently shown that they are bringing this darkness to continue to have any sort of power, then we are failing as a species. We've seen that this is global.
Yes,
We
it
need
is,
to take this. It needs to be rooted out, is what I'm
but the
saying.
world is not a very dark place. The people in power are very dark people. And as Jim said, that is the minority. Most of this world is beautiful and people love each other. I've traveled to so many countries this last year. People are amazing. They're incredible. Right now, Ireland is going to be paying a living wage to their artists. Thousands of artists, musicians are going to be getting a living wage just to create. That's what's happening in Ireland. This world is amazing, but the darkness of a KGB fucking spy trying to dominate the world, somebody who has no morals and has been bankrupt a bunch of times and obviously is a sexual deviant. And of course, all how this works, they all have compromat on each other. They all know each other's dirty secrets. The world is not a dark place, but dark people, these people with these deviants, these, you know, I don't want to say monsters because they're, you know, whatever you want to say, fill in. They just happen to be
They
people
are
that
very naughty
have
people,
power.
is what they are. They're very naughty.
They're literally different than us, and I want people to understand that and feel comfortable believing that their wiring, their actual physiology, their neurology, all of those things are different in this category of people that's taken over. An incredibly small percentage of the population, malignant narcissism, the dark tetrad or triad, whichever flavor of it is a very small part of the population, and it constitutes the vast majority right now of the monsters in power. And unfortunately, a great deal of other sort of corollary psychopaths, like Jeff Bezos, right? This guy is perfect, right? Like, obviously did a deal to get his taxes cut if he would do a catch and kill on my hometown newspaper, the Washington Post, right? Is seen in Saint-Tropez with this Botox woman. Like, I mean, he has just been subsumed, right? Tim Cook, who went to fucking see Melania the day after Alex Preddy was shot with Donald Trump. Fuck that guy, right? But the instigators, right? The Teals and the Musks and the Trumps and the ones that are out in front of it are this bizarre kind of creature that isn't like us, and we have to stop pretending they are. So what has happened is that our system has been corrupted, or at least, or to some extent it was already like this, but now it's been amplified.
Yeah.
Has taken literally the worst people in the world, the most dangerous, malicious, malignant kind of person that exists in the world, has been advantaged throughout the entire system until they get to $1 trillion. Elon Musk has $850 billion. He has more money than like the GDP of 175 countries or something. It makes absolutely no sense. The system has been absolutely turned upside down, and we are just, what I implore us as people, and to the extent that we have politics and politicians anymore, that we make it clear to them, this is not about politics. This is not, I've been beating this drum for a long time. Ecology. It's about evil. It's about malignancy and pathology, and the most dangerous kind of people that there is, having hacked their way through fraud, malicious operations, nepotism,
Active.
all of these fucking I'm almost done, Weasley ways they've gotten to these positions. And the advantage to some extent of the situation where it is, we've sorted them all to the top. We fucking know where they are. We need to skim that shit off. It's like we got some bad milk or something, I don't know, something, and all that shit goes to the top. Skim that shit off like to get a big fucking scoop it, throw it out back, fucking let the squirrels eat it, and let the normal people fucking breathe. My God, you absolute morons. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, thank you. No, to Hi-Fi's point about the darkness of the world, because what's happening is these miserable, sadistic people are trying to spread it, and they're using the internet, and places around the world are starting to become very aware of that, which is why they're trying to figure out how they're going to move forward with kids on the internet. What are they going to do? Just like we added seatbelts and we added smoking restrictions and drinking restrictions. At some point, you figure out how you reset that. So in that respect, that darkness is spreading. But again, it is a minority of sadists. They happen to be in power. And I think it's time now to see Zarina's next two clips to actually kind of buttress what Jim is saying.
But I wrote an article for Byline Times supplement called Kholodomor, and it's based on Holodomor. It sounds pretty much the same, but Holodomor is a man-engineered hunger which Stalin used for the previous genocide of Ukrainian people in the 30s. And actually there was one in the 20s also, which wiped away millions of Ukrainians, and it's still very much present in historical memory and identity. But holod is a cold in Ukrainian, and holod is hunger. It just happens to be similarly sounding words. And so Holodomor is a death by cold. And here I have to bring up my family history, which happens to be a part of my family, as I have mentioned before. Obviously, it's transgenerational trauma for me. Was shot and buried in the mass graves here in Ukraine. But the other part of the Jewish family were starving and starved to death in Leningrad during the siege. And I'm not going to go into the graphic details, but it was horrifying. And they didn't have heat, water, and food. Fortunately, in Ukraine, for now, there is food for the most part. I think there are shortages in some villages and settlements very, very close to the front line just because of the delivery issues, because of the drones hunting humanitarian convoys and volunteers delivering food. But other than that, so far, hunger is not an issue, but the cold is. And I can tell you by my own personal experience that it's very hard to function and do anything when it's that cold. Your all energy is going just to keep warm, just to get up and make yourself do something is an effort. And of course, everybody's doing it. And it's much easier for me because I'm just one person. I don't have any dependents. I don't have any young children or elderly, incapacitated. But for functioning families with dependents, with pets, with small children, it's a complete disaster. And it's engineered. It's done on purpose. Every night here in Odessa, we hear shaheeds. I have the videos on my Twitter account zooming by the window. I was thinking yesterday how sadistic Russia is. Like everybody's saying, Russia is a country terrorist. Russia is a sadist country. They are sadistic. So each city is being tortured in its own way. So Odessa and Kiev right now are being frozen to death, while Kherson is being shot. It's being shot nonstop with artillery, MLRS, multi-launch rocket systems, and of course the drone, human safari drone attacks. And yeah, this is the current state of affairs here.
Are you muted, Heidi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, Zarina's at the Munich Security Conference. She screened her film, Kherson Human Safari, there yesterday. And I've been in communication with her, and it is shocking how many people still don't know what is happening in Kherson and do not know that people are being stalked and murdered by drones. So it's very important that she's there spreading the word and, informing as many people as possible about the genocide that is occurring there.
One of the bravest people I've ever met. I mean, and most effective. I mean, a single person who basically uncovered the whole drone thing by herself a year before anybody else was reporting on it. She's
And her work, multiple reports, UN reports, Human Rights reports, indicating that these are war crimes and that Russia's committing crimes against humanity.
She's saying something important there too, I think, which is, this is sadism, right? It's not just war crimes, it's torture. It's deliberate torture. And it's not a coincidence, right? That again, the type of person that Putin and Epstein and Trump and
100%.
Thiel and Musk and all of these guys, sadism is part of their repertoire.
Yeah.
Sadism, they get as much out of hurting people as anything, because everything is just a game to them. These people literally don't have emotion, so sadism is just a form of entertainment, a form of something that you do to get what you want, and have a little fun in the process. That's how you can see it in Epstein's emails as much as you can see it in the behavior of fucking Vladimir Putin. It's the same category of demented personality that we have to get
out of the
across the world. We just all need to go, because listen, and I'll say this once again, I'll shut up. There's only 3,000 billionaires in the whole world, right? There's 8 billion of us. I'm telling you, if we all just were like, you don't get Taylor Swift. You can leave her because she earned it. Everybody else, just grab them, and the world would flourish. It would be amazing.
Yeah.
And I know
rainbows and unicorns.
Not necessarily realistic, but there are shades of this plan. The sort of French Revolution of the world that can happen, and can happen in relatively quick succession, but not if America is this fucking nightmare. We're gonna have to, as we've done in the past, lead the fucking way here by cleaning our own goddamn house. So yes, we got to vote, but we're way past that. Go ahead. finger is wagging.
The finger is wagging. If we can clean house, that would be a glorious, beautiful thing, and reaffirm my faith that America is getting better. But you talk about billionaires, and I want to go back to something Heidi said, and also tying in billionaires, because if you're gonna root out some billionaires, you got to start in Silicon Valley, because there are some very, very, very dirty things in there. The internet is full of wickedness, and could use a good bleaching. Let's be honest. We talk a lot of dark things here on the show, and I just want to share a little dopamine that I got this week, because I was going through the Epstein files on the DOJ's website, and of course I had to search up the name Weave, Weeb, who is a hacker who I've written about, and there he was in the Epstein files. Another hacker was talking about him and Peter Thiel, and so there's a search tool out there called jmail.world.
Yeah, you don't need to. There's a reason why it's not in there, and it's not a conspiracy. Just so you know.
Well, guess what? It's in there now. Good. After I wrote less than 7 hours after I wrote my article, it suddenly appeared. Who knew it would happen? But that was interesting.
I thought we were going to talk about something truly wonderful that happened since we last met.
Yeah, I was like, where?
That was the halftime.
I was
you got weed.
Heidi, what happened to you that's good? Give us some dopamine. Give us the good.
I just want to talk about Bad Bunny. I watched the halftime show so many times. I loved it so much. I'm still like so excited about it. Like, it was just beautiful. And maybe also living in Los Angeles half my life, I just felt like at home anyway. Thought it was really.
I have to. I just want to pile on. Like that was fucking amazing. I didn't know, just because they're throwing him around all the time. I listened to a few songs. He sounds like a very talented young man. But then I fucking saw that. It was like, oh my God, man. Yeah. That's what a man is supposed to be like, right? That beautiful. Like for so many people, I think that was he was a role model, and what it felt like, I think, to a lot of people is that he was including all of us in his heritage, and then he just sort of brought it all together with the all the I Love America and the football and shit. Dude was wearing it all in his sleeve. And never he didn't politicize anything. He didn't do any of that shit. Didn't need to. It was just one of the most sort of brilliant things. Did people don't know that wedding was real?
Yeah.
Like I mean, somebody just they were like, "Is any chance you wanna?" And they were like, "Not only that, but why don't you come to the Super Bowl?" He's just a cool guy, a regular guy from a lower middle class family. High five. And I think it made a lot of people very excited, and the reaction and the utter embarrassment of the attempted freak out about it was also, I think, really important and very good. In the sense that it was like 135 million people watched that, and like 4 million people watched fucking Kid Rock in his jorts singing about hoes and shit.
Lip syncing
it, and forgetting the words to his own song in the jorts with the fucking Lee Greenwood. Oh my God. And I think even for MAGA, and they had to bus in 200 people to even go, like it was just so cringe at every level. And this TPUSA, this Charlie Kirk's, the fucking new Jesus Christ or whatever. Fuck me. It was the contrast and the whole thing. The game was incredibly boring. The ads were the worst ads in the history of the internet. of the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
all that I think made Bad Bunny even better. Sorry,
I just think it was the most
Hold
beautiful
on,
and
hold on. I got to talk about
what
something.
America
we
stands
had a finger. We had a
for.
finger.
I got to talk about this real quick because this is important.
Oh.
At least it is to me because I'm a big fucking nerd, right? And the trolls are going to have so much fun with that clip. Anyway, his use of sugarcane in his halftime show was absolutely phenomenal because if you understand anything about the history of Central and South America and sugarcane and just the history of it, look it up. Plantations. It's rough, man. And that was a beautiful but subtle nod to the history of all those people. So
From my nerd perspective, like did you see it from above? It was a maze. Shit was incredible. Like
Yeah, it was
the
beautiful.
number of cameras and moves and different sets, all like holy shit. Not and he didn't blink, he didn't fuck up. Like I don't
It
know,
is
man.
so
That
beautiful.
was the nicest, like most heartfelt fuck you I've ever seen. You know
Well,
what I mean?
also
Like it
coming on
wasn't in a bad way. Just he was just
the
like,
fact that America is going through what it's going through right now with ICE, and then you get something like that, which just is sort of like this incredible counterpunch, but it's also like this reality check, and it is so beautiful and such a celebration. And as a daughter of immigrants, I was so moved. I didn't watch the game, didn't watch the commercials. I literally just watched that show over and over because it was so beautiful. It lifted my spirit up as it did millions of other people. And if the midterms were not fucked with, I think Jim just told you what the numbers would look like. 130 times versus 4 over here, because I think that's
yeah.
the
Can I just, before we go, I know we're late, but I just wrote about this, but a lot of people are getting freaked out by this stupid fucking post on Twitter. And if you happen to be one of those people, I wrote an article about it, but oh my God, can we just
something big is happening.
It's yes,
Yeah.
this is a Twitter post called "Something Big is Happening." If
Thank
you
God,
remember
Jim.
back to COVID, there was a virus, and it
Yeah.
sucks you into this dark world, and then makes you think AI is going to take everybody's job, and it might, it's fuck me. I'm sorry, I don't want to. I'm trying not to make this long. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Chatbots are not going to take over anything. The only existential danger is the $5 trillion fucking dollars that we're putting into probabilistic text predictors. It's the most insane fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. And stop following people that talk like that, because if all you have to do is look at who wrote it.
Yeah.
The AI startup investor.
Yeah.
They're riding this bubble as hard as they can. And listen to me. Listen to me. We had 2000, we had 2008, and boy howdy, man, this motherfucker is going to be worse than either of them. And the longer it goes on, the worse it's going to be. So I'm going to keep yapping about it, and I apologize for that. But these guys it's just a giant, that giant sucking sound is trillions of dollars coming out of our economy and going to those assholes.
Yeah. Jim is going to be speaking in a multi-part series for Betty Dangerous on that subject. So those of you who support me at the founding level are going to be able to get a master course from Mr. Stewartson on that subject. So let's see one last clip from Zarina and call it a night.
I wanted to change things. I want those in power to see, hear, and take the responsibility, either to act or choose not to act and then face accountability in, when the history calls for it, and it will call for it. There will be the moment of accountability. There will be trials, and we don't know if those perpetrators, if those criminals in charge will be prosecuted during their lives. Sometimes, honestly, there's no justice in history, but eventually there is some justice in humanity. And I'm convinced, and I will do anything I can, that there is such a trial, and that Putin and the whole chain of command answers for all the crimes that I've reported here.
Me too. That's what I hope too.
We need some we need a lot of tribunals. You
Yes,
remember that image of skimming the fucking
Yeah.
scum off the
Yeah.
edge that had
Yeah.
weaseled there? That's tribunals, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, remember the whole QAnon thing was projection, right? The whole QAnon thing was projection. There were fucking cabal pedophiles doing sadistic stuff in the same way. But here's the important part. What was the final act of QAnon? The storm. And what was the storm? A tribunal of elite pedophiles. And the reason why they had that as their fucking final thing is because that's what they're afraid of. Because that's what they know they deserve. Every last one of them. And so, my goal is not going to be to make QAnon come true, but backwards.
Hey, speaking of which, I want to take something back to the episode before Zarina's episode, Craig Unger, when we talked about how Epstein got $7 billion of American taxpayer money. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Rumler resigned today, the top lawyer at Goldman Sachs. And she used to be working with Jamie Dimon. And if you ask Craig, well, who knows the details of how Epstein got that money? The Fed put up some, and some other people put up some, and boom, Epstein got his cash there. One of them who knows the details of that is, in fact, Jamie Dimon. So the network.
There's some pictures with him.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find my February 9th post. Don't worry, the men who stole the American dream are doing just fine. You'll learn more about Jamie Dimon in that post. So yeah, that's our show. Thank you guys for being here. And thank my co-host.
There's one question that I want to answer just to clarify.
Yes.
Says the Matt Schumer thing was an AstroTurf conspiracy. So I don't necessarily think that it was a conspiracy.
I didn't understand what you said. Say that again.
Matt Schumer is the guy who did that tweet, that long, doomer post.
Yeah.
And somebody asked, it was an AstroTurf for himself. If people don't know, he used AI to write it. He didn't write it. He admitted it later. Yeah. It's just written with Claude. And the prompt was something like this. It was like, please make a viral post about how the latest models in AI are going to take over the world. And literally just fucking pasted it into his thing. And it's at the end, it funnels you right into his subscribe thing. So it's part of a greater movement to grift off of dooming and glooming about this stuff when none of that stuff is actually real. Like, you show me a product that was built by any of these things. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. They keep pretending they're making things, and they can't show you a single thing. Anyway, sorry for that digression, but it's really going around a lot, and I want to really make sure that people get the message that
Thank
we're
you.
not going to be taken over by fucking Grok. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Mind-war.com to read the post that he's talking about. I think it was your most recent one. High Fidelity, go ahead and take us out.
I am going to leave you with a strange individual named Karuk, who has written what I think is one of the best protest songs of world.